different parts of this country. In the southeast, the IPOB ESN is waging a full-scale war against the government of this country. And many local governments, many communities are deserted, schools are closed, hospitals are closed. In the same vein, in Niger, in Zamfara, in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Yobe, in Borno, we're only talking about Boko Haram. Boko Haram is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a full-scale war going on. And the blackmail of the Nigerian state by the Nigerian military is shameful. They said they do not have enough armament, and people listen to these false narratives. They are lying. They are liars. I repeat, they are liars, because I am a participant. I am a participant in this war. I fight on the side of the government of the Nigerian state, in Plateau, in Niger, in Anambra, in Imo, in Abia, and in Rivers State, and in Abuja. Today you are traveling to Kaduna on this road. It's not the army that made it possible to travel for you to travel to Abuja or travel to Kaduna, vice versa. It is my men, employed by the government of the Nigerian state, stationed in Niger. Today you go to Baga, you go to Chiroro, you go to Wase. We have lost so many men, and we do not use, in all this engagement, we don't even have 1% of the armament deployed by the Nigerian military. 1%. And we have had resounding success. So these black men must end. They have enough resources to fight. Instead of fighting, they are busy stealing. They are busy making the government to spend on
of your own that you control.
I don't have an army, but I have a private military company that was engaged by the government of Nigerian state. And I've been doing the work for the Nigerian state. Private military companies exist all over the world. We have Black Waters, we have Wagner, we have so many private military companies. They are not even new to Nigeria. The only thing new is that maybe a Nigerian is now providing the same services that South African and Belarusians and other people provided to fight Boko Haram. And this thing, it was on BBC. There was a BBC documentary on South African mercenaries that were in Nigeria, fought in Nigeria. And I listened to the interview where they said they were even sabotaged by the military when they were here. So I have a private military company that is engaged by the government, and we fought. We are fighting side by side with the Nigerian military in many places.
Places like Kaduna, Abuja, or where? Where are these places?
In Niger, in Plateau, in Imo, in Abia, and in part of Rivers State. We were in Anambra before. They pulled us out of Anambra. We're in Plateau, and we're doing a good job. We're being commended by all the host communities. You can go to this community. You can go to Wase, you can go to Baga, you can go to Chiroro, you can go to the Kaduna Abuja road. We're doing fine. We're being commended.
What is the name of this your military group?
It's
Sorry, it seems your connection. We lost your connection. Can you still hear me? Alhaji Dokubo, can you hear me?
not a military.
Okay. See, we're having issues with the connection. But can you hear me now?
Yes, the company is called Royal Future.
Okay.
Services.
Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election held in Nigeria on February 25 and the result announced on March 1st, in which INEC announced Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the winner of the election. And that controversial announcement has resulted to judicial adjudication on the matter. The matter is presently at the Presidential Election Petition Court, from where you get to the Supreme Court. As I speak to you, while Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president until the Supreme Court says otherwise, many Nigerians, most Nigerians are waiting for the Supreme Court to tell them who actually won the 2023 presidential election. While that is being waited for by a majority of Nigerians, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is running the country. And one of the things that has been thrown up by his presidency thus far is the emergence of non-state actors like Asari Dokubo, is Niger Delta militant. And his viral video, Asari Dokubo's viral video with Shehu Okumbale of Channels Television on the Mic On podcast, where Asari Dokubo himself admitted that he runs a military company called Royal Sake or something like that. Initially, when Shehu Okumbale asked him whether he has a private army, he said he doesn't have private army. But when he was pressed, he said what he had is a private military company. And he began to mention the Wagner Group, the groups from South Africa, companies from South Africa and United States who are involved in military, who run military companies. Some of them have come to Nigeria to fight Boko Haram. And he revealed that federal government recruited him to fight along Nigerian soldiers in several parts of the country. In Imo State, Abia State, Anambra State, Plateau State, Niger State, Kaduna State, several other places. That viral video is troubling, and it should be troubling to every Nigerian, because in our laws, there are no place in our constitution for private companies, private military companies to be part of combat operation. It doesn't exist. Even when the South Africans were used by President Goodluck Jonathan to fight Boko Haram, which Asari Dokubo alluded to, where he also claimed that there was a documentary by the BBC on the mercenaries, and those mercenaries were was allegedly sabotaged by the Nigerian military. It is no different from the similar allegation that Asari Dokubo laid against the Nigerian military when he was speaking at the presidential villa. He talked about that they used to, the military, the police, they used to leave their weapon for the bandits to carry. He alleged that. You can go and watch that video he made. That's his interaction with the press that he held when he was at the presidential villa to visit President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, military companies are very notorious around the world. And even those countries he was mentioning that they have military companies like United States, where the black this thing you talk about the South Africa and all the rest. They normally don't use those military companies in their country. They don't operate in their country. Most of the time, like the United States, the United States company he mentioned, the black this thing that he mentioned, that company became notorious when it was involved in fighting in Iraq. Okay? You have never heard about them fighting combat operation in United States. Even the South Africans mercenaries, you have never heard about them fighting in South Africa. Most of the time, these people are hired to do dirty jobs outside their geographic entity. You can see that even the Wagner Group, they are notorious for fighting in African conflict situation. Of course, they are right now in Ukraine. They are believed to be in Ukraine, fighting in the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay? So for Asari Dokubo to have been recruited by the Nigerian government, it is important that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria hold a public investigation or whatever investigation. The United Nations should also be involved in this matter because there have been serious allegations of violations of human rights, especially in Southeast Nigeria. For example, there is a report by the Amnesty International Nigeria, how people are disappearing, how people are being killed by security officials, by military officials, so that it can be isolated and know the role private military companies like that of Asari Dokubo, the role they played in that. What was their role of engagement? What was the role of engagement of Asari Dokubo when he was fighting in Imo State, in Abia State, in Anambra State, in Plateau State, in Kaduna State, in Niger State, and Zamfara State, wherever he had fought? What was the rule of engagement? Who recruited him? On what ground was he recruited? His company recruited. Is it that the Nigerian army could not face the security challenges that they have to hire a military company owned by Asari Dokubo? Who hired him? Is it former President Muhammad Buhari, the same Buhari that was against the use of mercenaries that was hired by Jonathan? In fact, those mercenaries from South Africa at the time, it was believed that they were doing a fantastic job. But when Buhari came, he discovered that it was not, perhaps it was not good for the country or whatever. He disbanded them and they left the country. did he turn around and began to appreciate private military company, and what was the ground? Because already there are many people who have looked into this matter and have cited that it's unconstitutional to hire a private military company, more especially the one owned by somebody like Asari Dokubo that had been on several viral videos talking to people anyhow, threatening the Igbos and all that. So how did he get this job? Who gave him the job? What was the job specification? How did he execute this job? Was in the process of executing this job, was the rights of Nigerians violated? Because as I told you, there is a report. You can go to the Amnesty International site, Amnesty International Nigeria, and see several instances, examples that were given of human rights violation, of people disappearing, of killings in Southeast, so that it will be able to get at the roots of all these things, to ensure that he was recruited legally and that what he did was constitutional, was not a violation of the Constitution. Because this is a serious matter. You know that even when he appeared at the presidential villa, you can see how he was bragging that it was because of his men that there is people can pass through Kaduna Abuja Road. He dismissed the contribution of the military. He said the military, if left for the military, you can't pass through Abuja Kaduna Road. He said even the peace you are enjoying in Abuja, you can't enjoy it. He was so daring in his utterances, and that his visit to Tinubu at the presidential villa. This matter should not be allowed to lie down, to just go like that. I expect Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they cannot claim that they have not seen the viral video of that interview with Shegun Kumbale of Arise Television, of Channels Television. But this time it was in a podcast that he hosted, Mike On podcast. That was where he made these revelations. So there is a need to find out how he executed it. And it's also this public hearing that will be done by the Senate. They must also invite those who alleged that their children, their sons and daughters, disappeared in the Southeast, that they couldn't find them, so that they can come and give evidence. Who are the people that they suspect were involved? Were they wearing Nigerian military uniform? What uniform were they wearing? When they were fighting alongside, as Asari said, they were fighting alongside Nigerian soldiers. Were they wearing Nigerian military soldier uniform? Or they were wearing their own special uniform? Or they were on mufti? How are they dressed? How would the people that they confronted differentiate them? What was the modus operandi? What was the rule of engagement? Who gave them the rule of the engagement they use? Because when you're listening to Asari Dokubo talk about how people are dying in Southeast, in Igbo land, water, it's troubling. So these are the issues that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have to investigate it. Invite those who are involved, those who gave him the job, and why they gave him the job, and why the military had been silent about their involvement. And then to look at the Constitution Was the Constitution violated? Is it right? Already the United Nations frown at operations of these military companies because they are notorious in everywhere they have operated. They are often do not follow any rule of engagement. They are notorious for violation of human rights. They are notorious for extrajudicial killing and all that. And they just recently, uh, independent rights experts and that are linked to the United Nations. Recently, top United Nations appointed independent rights experts call on the authorities in Mali to launch immediate probe into the mass execution of civilians, allegedly. That was last year, but it's this year they are making the United Nations is making this demand, allegedly by government forces and the Russian-based military contractor, the Wagner Group. According to the United Nations experts on this, he said that we are particularly warned by we are particularly warned by credible reports that over the course of several days in late March 2022, Malian armed forces, accompanied by military personnel believed to belong to the Wagner Group, executed several hundred people who had been rounded up in Maura, a village in central Mali, the United Nations report said. Now, founded by a Russian businessman, the Wagner Group is also widely reported to be involved in fighting in Ukraine. And they are known to have recruited thousands of convicts from Russian jails. They recruited thousands of convicts from Russian jails. Where did Asari Dokubo recruit his own men? Who they need to see his payroll, those who he recruited, the conditions he recruited them, and what was their assignment. The Senate cannot keep silent on this. The Senate need to investigate this matter. And the United Nations need to be involved in this matter. Because many of these combats operation that he claimed he and his boys participated, there have been allegations of violations of human rights, of extrajudicial killing. Some of them documented by Amnesty International in Nigeria. So there's a need for investigation by the Senate. And why, if the Senate don't want to do it, then the United Nations should set up a special agent to come and look at what is going on in Nigeria in terms of this use of private military contractors to fight alongside Nigerian military, to make sure that they follow the rule of engagement, that nobody who is innocent was killed in the process of executing whatever job they were assigned. So the United Nations should get interested, and I expect people who feel that their family members got missing. If your family members got missing in the southeast, in northeast, or wherever, and they are unaccounted for, you can make a report in such a panel, and such a public hearing by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because this is a security matter. Senate has a responsibility, to look into it. And senators that came from zones, some of those places that Asari Dokubo has pointed out that he has fought with his men has fought alongside the army, can also, if they have any report that is in tandem with the report of the Amnesty International of extrajudicial killings and all that, they can submit memorandum to the Senate. But this should not be allowed to die down, especially with people, legal experts who are saying that it is unconstitutional to even recruit private military company to fight alongside the army, the police, the navy, or whatever, because they are unknown to Nigerian constitution. So it is important that the Senate investigates Asari Dokubo's company and the role they played in fighting in the states or parts of Nigeria that he had mentioned, to ensure that the rights of people were not violated. And if it is discovered that it was an illegality, then to make sure that it never happened again, that private companies, military companies like that of Asari Dokubo were never involved in the security architecture of Nigeria or in the protection or in fighting alongside security agents. They can work as informants, but to be part of the combat that made Asari Dokubo to be boasting about the capacity of his boys, which he has even rated higher than Nigerian military. And we know that Nigerian military is the best in this continent, or one of the best in this continent, one of the best in the world. So it needs to be investigated. The United Nations need to be involved. Amnesty International and Nigeria should be involved too. And other civil society organizations, they should be part of a holistic investigation. These things that Asari Dokubo revealed should not be allowed to go to waste. It will reveal a whole lot of things that are happening in the country, so that present leaders and future leaders will know how to handle issues of security. So it is important that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the United Nations, Amnesty International, and other civil society organizations should be part of a holistic investigation to find out how Asari Dokubo's military company was executing the assignment that he claimed was given to him by the federal government of Nigeria. And who gave him that assignment? Is it Buhari that gave him that assignment? Is it the former National Security Advisor that gave him that assignment? Who gave him that assignment? And what was the rule of engagement? The rule of engagement that was given to him. Is his own rule of engagement in line with the Nigerian Army rule of engagement, the police rule of engagement, the Navy, the Air Force rule of engagement, or his own was different? At least he is the one that has been put himself out there in public, talking about how he has executed operations in several parts of the country. At least we know that the military from time to time through their spokesperson have been telling us how they carry out operations. But they have never mentioned that a military company like that of Asari Dokubo played any role. But now Asari Dokubo is talking. The Senate should investigate it. The United Nations should be interested, just as they are interested in how the Wagner Group are violating rights in Mali, in Central African Republic, and several other places. And even the American military company that Asari Dokubo also made reference to, they are noted for violations of rights of the people. Okay, so it is important that we look at these issues, especially the Senate of Nigeria, look at this issue very well, because organizations like military companies, they don't have good name, they don't have good reputation. They don't usually follow rule of engagement. So it will be interesting to find out how did Asari Dokubo operate in this operation he claimed he participated. Now, concern about the Wagner Group, there have been concerns about the Wagner Group. Why I brought up the Wagner Group is that it's a typical example of private military companies that are notorious for several violations, killings, and what have you. Now, concerns about the Wagner Group surfaced in a recent months in Central African Republic, where the United Nations Human Rights Office published information indicating that the mercenaries were among those committing systemic and grave human rights and international humanitarian law violations, including torture, disappearances. When you hear disappearances, it means that people are killed, nobody sees them anymore, and nobody knows what happened to them, and summary execution. The United Nations are worried about this role of a military company, Wagner, in Central African Republic. Now, in Nigeria, Amnesty International Nigeria has documented several cases of extrajudicial executions, enforced disappearances, mass arrests, torture, extortion by security agents operating in Southeast. Of course, this may be indication of what's happened all over the country, but there is a need for investigation. So during that investigation, we will hear a lot. Nigerians will know a lot. So, and I expect the United Nations, if they have any information on how the private military company like that of Asari Dokubo, how they operate in Nigeria, if they have any report, they should also bring it out. There's a need for international attention to be paid to this matter by the United Nations, and there's a need for the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to investigate this matter so that it doesn't repeat itself, so that we don't become a nation where private companies are recruited and they now use it, that vantage position, to fight ethnic battles and religious battles in a country like Nigeria that is deeply polarized. This is very important. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have to investigate the information released by by Asari Dokubo about his military company that is fighting alongside Nigerian security officials in parts of the country. It should not be swept under the carpet. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you for watching this. God bless you and yours.